Khadr spent almost a decade inside that notorious prison, growing from a boy to a man.
I think there was some concern that perhaps he would be radicalized even more so inside Guantanamo, but I don't remember any evidence that really indicated that.
Omar Khadr was kept at Guantanamo Bay under very adverse and some would say troubling conditions.
Give the kid a chance to tell us, and he has a responsibility to do that, what he has to say, how he feels, and what he stands for.
Give the kid a chance? We have to know how he feels. Well, there you have it. The media party loves its, quote, child soldier. But looks can be deceiving. In 2002, Omar Khadr was involved in a gunfight with U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. He threw a grenade, killing one of the soldiers, Christopher Spear. Khadr was charged with murder. Another soldier, Sergeant Lane Morris, was hit by shrapnel, leaving him blind in one eye. And he joins us now with more from Salt Lake City, Utah. Welcome back to the show, Lane. It's good to see you again, and I'm delighted that you are with Tabitha Spear, the widow of Christopher Spear, on behalf of their two fatherless children, Tanner and Taryn, filing a $42.5 million lawsuit against Omar Khadr. What made you file this lawsuit? Why did you do it?
Well, a couple of different reasons. First of all, is to deny the use of these funds to Al-Qaeda. I'm thoroughly convinced that that's exactly where they'll go. Number two would be to provide for the victims of this crime, especially Tabitha Spear's two children.
So when you say deny the use of the funds, you're referring to either any money the Khadr family has, or perhaps more likely Omar Khadr's lawsuit against the Canadian government for $20 million. So you're saying if you don't take that $20 million away from him, that'll quite likely go to the Al-Qaeda fight. Is that what you mean by that money?
Absolutely, Ezra. There's very little doubt. Omar Khadr, the only thing that he lacks really at this point is a whole bunch of funding. He's had the training, he demonstrated the ability, and put his money or done the walked it like he's talked it. He just hasn't been able to put any money where his mouth is. And now it's a great chance for him. So I think there's very little question what Omar Khadr would do with this money. It would be to advance Al-Qaeda causes around the world.
Well, and that's what his father did, Ahmed Khadr, who was a terrorist as well, Al-Qaeda financier. He would go from mosque to mosque in Canada recruiting money, and he would give it to terrorists overseas. And Omar Khadr has never renounced his father. In fact, he's become more like his father, more radicalized. He's been hanging out with terrorists for 10 years in Guantanamo Bay. I think you're quite right. Now, let's talk about the symbolism here, because what gets me, and you saw that little media montage, you have Canadian reporters calling him a boy, a kid, implying that he was victimized. I did a search in Canadian media, and the number of times the real victims' names were mentioned compared to Omar Khadr as a victim is literally 100 to 1. Omar Khadr has been portrayed as a victim 100 times for every time, say, Tabitha Spear or her kids have been mentioned by name. I hope that you and Tabitha and Tanner and Taryn will be remembered in the minds of Canadians as the real victims. Is that one of the goals here?
Absolutely. There needs to be a message sent. And that message is not only for Omar Khadr and those who support him, but for Canadians and Americans in general, that there's an ongoing battle. It continues to this day, and we need to do everything we can to cut off funding to the enemy. And Omar Khadr is the enemy. He's demonstrated that. This is really just the final piece that Omar Khadr needs, is the financial backing. And it's just tragic that there's consideration given to providing him that final piece. It's crazy. I mean, why do you think bin Laden was so successful? He had the financial backing to be a big player. Omar Khadr is even more capable, because unlike bin Laden, Omar Khadr's got some bona fides where he can say, he can point to actions against U.S. and Canadian forces and show demonstrate success.
Well, that's the thing. Omar Khadr is young, healthy. He's only in his 20s, and he'll be paroled for sure. Whether it's in 6 months or in a year is the only question. He will most likely get millions of dollars from the Canadian taxpayer. So he'll be walking, strutting around town, cock of the walk, and he'll be able to say, I murdered a U.S. medic in cold blood. I blinded another American, and not only am I free, I'm a millionaire, and I'm a celebrity. In a way, he is more powerful now than he was before, because he is a symbol that you can poke the West in the eye in the most violent, capital way possible, and we don't even have the self-respect to punish him. You know, you say it's tragic and a farce that he would get this money. That tragedy and farce started in Guantanamo Bay when a jury there sentenced him to 40 years in prison, but a deal between politicians got him out to Canada within a matter of months. How do you think this story will end? Do you think Omar Khadr will take up the torch dropped by his father? Do you think do you think the media will come to their senses, or will they continue to cheer for him? What's life going to be like on this story in 2 or 3 years?
Well, you know, we've got 30 years now of the Khadr family and politicians making horrible decisions on that family, and it coming back to bite all of us. And you know, you look at the trend, and the trend is going obviously towards Omar Khadr replacing his father. He's set up as good or better than bin Laden was. Where the tragedy is that in the Western society, we're the ones creating this guy. I mean, bin Laden did it by himself. Omar Khadr is being assisted by Western society and the Canadian government in particular. It's just stunning to me how politicians can make the same mistake over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, on 9/11, probably fewer than 1 in 1,000 people had heard the name Osama bin Laden. But in Canada in 2014, most people have heard the name Omar Khadr. What he lacks in power and the mega millions that bin Laden had, he certainly has in the celebrity power, the media power, and the psychological warfare that he can wage against our society. Lane Morris, I hope you're successful in this lawsuit. Keep us posted on it, and I'm glad you're fighting back, not just symbolically, but with a lawsuit that hopefully can take that money away from him. Great to see you again.
Hey, it's great to see you. Nice talking to you.